Hi guys, welcome back to STEPHAN. Today's video is going to be very casual, and today I wanted to talk about why we chose Germany. I've received a lot of intrigue on TikTok and a lot of people from USA wanting to follow our path. I've received a lot of questions on how we made the move to Germany and what one needs to do in order to make that move to Germany. But the biggest question that I received so far was, why Germany? So stay tuned and I will go over why we made the move to Germany. Hi guys, welcome back to STEPHAN. If you haven't already subscribed, then please subscribe and help our channel grow. So let's get right into it. The first point is no frills. There's nothing fancy. There's not a huge dramatic story behind why we chose Germany. So the first point is our business. 4 years ago, we decided to switch our careers. Prior to 4 years, Stephan and I had an IT business. We had a consulting business, and which we still do, but back then that was our primary work and that's what we focused on. So we used to work full-time in the corporate world implementing a software, SAP, for large corporations. And 4 years ago, we decided to switch our careers. And when I say switch, I don't mean 100% switch. It's been a progress. It's actually, the seed was planted 6 years ago. We're both very creative people and we wanted to do something that made us feel really happy. And consulting also makes us feel very happy. But there was creativity and that passion for creativity which was missing. So we decided to explore what our true passion was. And we both came to a conclusion that our true passion was fashion. We took that passion and we transformed it into a business. 4 years ago, we started STEPHAN, that is our clothing line. It's a menswear brand and it's a lifestyle brand. To have a high-end product, we wanted to be closer to all of our resources and sources, which was in Europe. We hand select all of our fabrics from Italy and our manufacturing is in Germany. Now you get an idea of why we chose Germany as a home base, and that's one of the big reasons why we moved to Germany. If anyone is interested, you can go on jstephan.com. That is our website, and you can get a feel for what our aesthetic is. Now that that is out of the way, let's get into some of the emotional aspects of why we chose Germany. So the second reason why we chose Germany is it's the people. Obviously, this is a generalization because you cannot account for the entire country. For the most part, the German people are very straightforward, and you get a straightforward answer and you get a straightforward emotion. However, there is a general misconception in USA, or I should say it used to be when I was growing up. I grew up with a mentality that Germans were very militant and they were very cold people. And that learning came from the archaic school system that we have in USA and the history that's taught to us. It's not an excuse, but it's just an explanation of why a lot of people in USA that don't have a chance to leave USA or don't explore history on their own and learn the true history, that they're bombarded with what's taught to us in school, and that shapes our mind, unfortunately. When I stepped into the professional world of working and I switched my career from entertainment to working in consulting with SAP, that's when I started working with a lot of German consultants. And that really opened my eyes. I believe I was 23 when I started working as a consultant. And that was a huge realization for me, that the idea that I had about Germany and Germans and the German culture were all misconceptions. And through working with the German people, I related to them so well that I felt more comfortable working with the German people, and not only at work, but also after work. I just felt like they could understand me, which I didn't have growing up in USA. And that's actually another video that I will do, is cultural identity. I think that's an interesting topic, which I think a lot of people that went through a similar thing that I did, how immigrating to a different country at a very young age can have a huge impact on your cultural identity. So German people are straightforward. They don't get around the bush. There's no bullshit. They will say what they want to say, what's on their mind, which I really appreciate. They're disciplined and punctual, and that's something I need to work on myself because I am not a very punctual person. I'm very laid back, but the punctual part I really appreciate now because it doesn't come from a militant perspective, but it comes from the idea of respect for time. Respect for other people's time, respect for your own time, respecting the interaction and commitments. That's where the punctuality comes into play. Germans are very efficient, hardworking, and practical. People in USA are also very hardworking, but it's a different type of mentality where Germans work to live. In USA, people live to work. Whereas in Germany, people tend to be very structured and disciplined about work, but once they leave work, that discipline shifts to the discipline of spending quality time with your family and your friends and getting things done that you need to do to make sure your life is as abundant as possible. The nature. And I know it probably sounds not a good enough reason to choose a country to live in, but nature in Germany, it's so beautiful. California is beautiful as well, but it's a different type of nature. Once you are in Germany, you realize that the people and the government seems like they have this understanding of why nature is important, and everyone plays an equal part into it. Germans are very committed to preserving nature. You can go into a huge city and you will always find a park, a huge park, and it's well maintained. You will find a forest in every corner, basically. The main points are that Germans are committed to nature and renewable energy. There was a poll done a few years ago, and 90% of the German population believe in going green, which I think is amazing. The last point is the culture and traditions of Germany. The values resonate so much in Germany to me because I grew up in an Indian family who had immigrated to USA. And Indian families generally are very close-knit families, and that's a mentality that I grew up with. That alone makes a huge part of who I am as a person. When I grew up in USA, I had such cultural identity issues. I was very confused as to what I liked, what I didn't. There were certain things that I loved about the Indian culture, but yet I couldn't relate to. And yet there are so many things in USA that I could relate to, but then I didn't feel comfortable with. When I came to Germany, I felt that comfort level of the close-knit family. Germans generally are very close to their family. And once you become friends with them, they are also very close to their friends. The friends that I've made in Germany, I know are friends that will be there for me through thick and thin. And these are the friends that I will have a lifetime. Thus, they are my extended family. You will also see a lot of families in smaller towns or in villages living together either in one house or close by within the same town or a nearby town. So multi-generations are living either under one roof or they're living close to each other. So that alone makes it so nice for me. And if you're a very family-oriented person, and Germany has that in a very beautiful way. Moving on with the values, gender equality is far better here in Germany than it is in USA or compared to many other countries. LGBTQ rights, immigration policy, overall civil rights and civil equality is the best that I've experienced in my life so far. Work culture is very balanced. The work week is typically 35 to 40 hours for a full-time job. And people don't take their work with them to home. Once they're done with work, they're done. When I've been out with friends that work full-time jobs, we never end up talking about their work. Whereas in USA, whether I'm hanging out with family or with friends, predominantly the conversation is always about work, which I believe takes away from the quality of conversations. The last thing about the traditions and the culture is beer and festivals. I know this may sound like something not as important, but in a way, actually, it is. So first of all, beer is, I think a lot of people know, Germany is known for beer. And I can tell you firsthand, I never used to drink beer in USA. I never understood why people drink beer. But in Germany, literally the first time I came here, I had the first glass and I fell in love with beer. I was like, this is amazing. It tastes so good. Anyone that's not from Germany, when they think about Germany, they think about beer and they also think of Oktoberfest. People don't realize that there's so much more to Oktoberfest. For me personally, although I love Oktoberfest, I think the cultural aspect and the historical aspect of Oktoberfest is so mesmerizing and amazing. But there are far better festivals that you can go to experience the true German festival feeling. Oktoberfest, I believe over the years, has become commercialized. But if you go to other festivals like Dult Festival they have in the summer, it's so amazing. You get that feeling of celebrating, and everyone's in that mood. And then there's that Schlager music and the folk music. Everyone's having a grand time. There are multiple beer gardens. So that's the other point, is the beer gardens in Germany. They're so beautiful, not from just the point of drinking beer, but the true essence of beer garden is going into beer garden and enjoying the time with your friends. And it's such an amazing feeling because you sit there in this beautiful setting, you have good beer, you have good conversations, you have good food, and it feels like connecting. To me, that is living life. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I gave you some of my perspective and answered the big question of why we moved to Germany. And if you haven't been to Germany already, you should seriously consider it. It's an absolutely amazing country to visit. And if you're looking to make a move to a country, I would highly recommend Germany. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next week.